much, Prabhu. I think you know uh, this event is a milestone event for Tarina, but this is also a milestone event for us at the Gates Foundation. We've been investing in India for many years now. Last year, we decided to sort of completely revamp our agriculture investment strategy in India, especially to respond to the changing India and to respond to some of the issues in India. For example, nutrition, that has not changed as much as we would like it to change. And so the new agriculture strategy of Gates Foundation, as well as the new nutrition strategy of the Gates Foundation, both emphasized agriculture, nutrition working together as some of the priority areas. And Tarina, I'm happy to say, is the first grant that we made, and there were several. I think we made 4 additional grants last year, which is in the area of leveraging agriculture for nutrition. Tarina is very important to us, A, because it is the first grant of the new strategy, so in a way a new strategy launch for us as well, and a huge learning experience, because clearly when you look at these systems within India, and if we look at a few capacity gaps, I mean, absolutely recognizing the large capacity this country has to offer on many fields in agriculture, there is no doubt about that. If there are a few areas which needs to be bridged a bit more, I think the whole area of nutrition absolutely comes to our mind. And this remains a persistent problem throughout, and we absolutely recognize that there are multiple factors that impact malnutrition. I don't want to get into sort of defining the problem of malnutrition in this country, because no one in this room needs to be convinced on that. We have been really struggling with that challenge, and we absolutely realize that there are multiple factors that attribute to the malnutrition challenge. It is the sanitation, it is the health, it is the genetic makeup of a very large portion of Indian population, which again needs a lot of work and remains an open research question in many sense. One of the fundamental reasons, one of the fundamental contributing factor to the malnutrition challenge of this country remains food, right? I mean, the affordability, the access, and the availability of food. And therefore, agriculture plays an extremely important role as a common thread of this challenge. If we look at as you said, Prabhu, if you look at the policies, and if you look at the large reforms the agriculture sector of this country has had, Green Revolution, if we look at the entire MSP and FCI and procurement type reforms that a very, very large number of farmers still very heavily depend upon. And if you look at the recent very large transformative reform which made India the largest, has the largest food bill in the world, and the largest spent on this kind of a PDS system, the food bill of India. All 3 of these large reforms have focused predominantly on 2 crops, rice and wheat. If we look at the consumption pattern of India, 57% of the caloric need in this country comes only from 2 crops, rice and wheat. And we know that none of this has really, it has significantly contributed to the food security of this country, but it has had a very, very limited impact on the nutrition security. And interestingly so, when India was producing 50 million tons to when India is producing 250 million tons, when India was one of the lowest growth country to when India is one of the fastest growing economies, all those things have changed, but it has had very, very limited impact on the nutrition level of the country. And therefore, paying a bit more attention now on the nutrition part and not just the food part is a challenge that we all, especially people working in the agriculture field, really need to address and address together. I wanted to, because I know this is just an 8 minutes interaction, I wanted to flag, and especially because I see a cross section of stakeholders in this room, and I see a lot of expertise coming from many angles. I wanted to flag a few suggestions, especially talking from a policy perspective, and not only talk about defining the problem. I think one of the things is the agriculture performance management in this country. If we look at the public sector, or if we look at any of the agriculture performance, the way it is measured, what is the biggest impact that we look for in a traditional system? The biggest impact we look for in a traditional system is the productivity growth. I was taught that as a scientist going to an Indian agriculture university. That's what we continue to do in the public sector and so forth. How do we measure the success of agriculture? We measure it through how much more food did we produce. I think that, bringing in a nutrition angle there is going to be extremely important. Crop diversity, one, and Dr. Joshi will, I'm sure, talk about it, because IFPRI is working as part of Tarina also on that area. But we know that income increase and often crop diversity does not necessarily always reflect into the diet diversity. And one of the biggest challenge there is the affordability part. Rice and wheat, so 1,000 calories of rice and wheat in this country on an average cost about 7 rupees. 1,000 calories coming from sugar in this country cost about 11.5 rupees. 1,000 calories coming from several other things, such as I have to wear my livestock hat, so meat cost about 70 rupees. So if we look at the consumption pattern across the country, whether this is rural area or urban area, whether this is a high income growth or low income growth, about 57% of the calories comes from cereal. There is not huge difference between how much cereal the people eat. The difference comes in that rest of the 40%, and the main contributor there is the affordability. And therefore, I think nutrition specific and nutrition sensitive agriculture will play an extremely important role. You mentioned about BCC, Prabhu, and I think that's really great, because nutrition often comes as an unfelt need from the people. I mean, especially in the rural areas, especially among mothers, the nutrition remains, an issue of education. And so there is a huge need for BCC, I agree. But I would like to extend that BCC to some of the other agencies as well. How many of the extension services in this country, for example, the KVKs or the extension services, are bringing in nutrition-related messages also, or crop diversification messages also? So I think that behavior change needs to come at many, many levels. It is also the question of incentives. What is the incentive for crop diversification? If you are not procuring it, why would a farmer grow it? So it's the question of incentive. And if we look at purely from a government perspective, investing into nutrition absolutely gives me much longer term result, right? It not necessarily gives very quick results. And therefore, again, sometimes it becomes an incentive issue. Agriculture University, we did a back of the envelope, while we were designing the strategy, looked at the curriculums of 23 agriculture universities of this country. Hardly any agriculture universities talk about nutrition at all. So I think one of the things that we could bring in, perhaps as part of Tarina, because you are bringing such a strong expertise from Cornell, would be to sort of bring in some of the nutrition level modules at the agriculture university level also. And I think at the end, it is a complex problem, contrary to the belief that the government needs to solve it. I don't think it is just the government who can or who will be able to do that. And therefore, what I would like to suggest, and we could discuss this a little later, is a polio-like campaign on nutrition in this country, where stakeholders come together with one target in mind, not the agriculture ministry, not the health ministry, not rural development, but all together. And I think if we could, a complex challenge like polio, we could address it. I think nutrition, let us try that approach as well.
Thank you for being